A single father, Ethan Cole, boards a flight with his daughter Emma, trying to leave behind a painful past at the loss of his wife and his Air Force career. During the flight, something extraordinary happens when a young pilot recognizes him, setting off a chain of events that reignites hope and honor. Ethan reflects on his past life as Viper 1, a decorated F-22 pilot who left the force after a tragic accident. Flashbacks reveal his courage, his loss, and his struggle to forgive himself. The F-22 commander, Captain Avery Holt, seeks Ethan's help for a special training program, one that could save lives. Ethan is torn between being a present father and answering the call to duty again. Ethan returns to the airbase, faces his past demons, and mentors young pilots with empathy and wisdom. His daughter inspires him with her innocent words, "Mom would want you to fly." Ethan takes one last flight, not to fight, but to honor, to guide, and to heal. His story becomes one of second chances, courage, and the power of kindness. Ethan Cole adjusted the strap of his duffel bag as he moved down the narrow airplane aisle, guiding his 6-year-old daughter Emma toward their seats. It was a late afternoon flight from Dallas to Seattle, and the cabin smelled faintly of coffee and metal. Seat 12F, window side, right wing view. That was theirs. Emma climbed in first, pressing her nose against the glass, holding her stuffed eagle the way she always did when they flew. Ethan smiled faintly. "You're my co-pilot today, remember?" he said softly, and she giggled. To everyone else, he looked like any other weary single father traveling with his child, but behind the gentle face and calm tone lived a man who once flew faster than sound, a man who once carried a name whispered with respect to Viper 1. He hadn't heard that call sign in years. Now, he was just Ethan, trying to build a new life after losing everything that once defined him. The engines hummed, the lights dimmed, and the flight attendants began their safety demonstration. He leaned back, staring at the clouds through the oval glass. Flying used to make his heart race, now it made it ache. The sky had taken too much from him. "Daddy," Emma said, tugging at his sleeve, "can I see the clouds when we're up?" He smiled and nodded. "All yours, sweetheart." As passengers settled, a voice broke through the soft noise. "Excuse me, Sarah, are you Ethan Cole?" Ethan turned. A man in uniform stood in the aisle, tall, sharp, no older than 30. "Yes," Ethan said slowly. "Do I know you?" The man smiled nervously. "Captain Avery Holt, United States Air Force." "You probably don't remember me, but I sure remember you." Ethan's chest tightened. "You're mistaken, Captain. I've been out a long time." Holt shook his head. "No, sir, not mistaken. You flew Operation Silver Dusk, right? You and Major Lansing?" Ethan's fingers clenched slightly. The name Lansing hit hard, a ghost from another life. "That was a long time ago," he said quietly. Holt nodded, his voice softening. "My brother was part of the team you saved that day." "He's alive because of you, sir." "You wary broken bar Viper 1. Ethan looked away. "I was just doing my job." Holt gave a small, respectful smile. "Sir, with all due respect, you did more than a job. You set the standard." Before Ethan could respond, Holt said something that froze him. "Sarah Broken Bar, welcome back, Viper 1. Holt moved on toward his seat, leaving Ethan staring at the clouds outside. Emma looked up at him. "What did he call you, Daddy?" "Just something from a long time ago," he murmured. The plane climbed through layers of white and gold, sunlight flooding the cabin. Ethan closed his eyes, but memories returned like thunder. The desert runway, the roar of an F-22 engine, the voice in his headset saying, "Viper 1, cleared for takeoff." That day had changed him forever. The flash of fire, the call that never came back from Major Lansing's jet, the guilt that grounded him for good. He'd walked away, traded uniforms for flannel, adrenaline for lullabies. Now he was a father, and that was enough. Or at least he thought so. "I like it when we fly," Emma whispered, leaning against him. "It feels like Mommy's up here somewhere." Ethan swallowed hard, glancing at the clouds. His wife, Claire, had always said the sky was where dreams were painted. She'd loved watching him take off, waving until the jet became a dot in the heavens. When she was gone, everything beautiful about the sky disappeared too. "Yeah," he said softly, "maybe she is." Later, when the seatbelt sign went off, Holt came back. "Sorry to bother you again, sir," he said quietly. "But I wanted to ask, do you ever fly anymore?" Ethan chuckled without humor. "Only paper airplanes for birthday parties." Holt smiled. "Sir, the Air Force is starting a new mentorship program, a combat vets guiding young pilots. You'd be perfect for it." Ethan shook his head. "I'm not that guy anymore." Holt hesitated. "Sir, you may not wear the wings anymore, but you never lost them." Ethan looked down at Emma's small sleeping face. "I've got someone who needs me down here, Captain." Holt nodded, understanding. "If you ever change your mind, sear a broken bar the sky never forgets." He returned to his seat, and Ethan sat in silence, watching sunlight spill over the clouds. For a moment, he felt the old rhythm in his chest, the pulse of engines, the thrill of purpose. It scared him. When they landed, Ethan checked his phone. Among the usual messages was one new email, from Captain Avery Holt. Subject: Viper Onia invitation to return. He didn't open it right away. That night, in a small Seattle hotel room, Emma slept curled beside her stuffed eagle while he stared at the ceiling. His mind replayed Holt's words, "The sky never forgets." He tried to forget. He'd promised Claire he'd be done with that life. But a voice deep inside whispered, "You're still a pilot, Ethan. You always will be." Days passed. He went to his job interview, smiled when he had to, said all the right things. But when they asked him, "What drives you?" he paused, because he didn't know anymore. That evening, while Emma colored beside him, he finally opened Holt's message. It wasn't a recruitment pitch, it was a request for help. "We're losing young pilots, sir. Too many crashes during training. They need someone who understands fear, not just flight. Someone who can teach them to feel again." Ethan stared at the words until they blurred. Maybe this wasn't about him flying again. Maybe it was about saving others from what he went through. That night, he looked out the window, city lights flickering like stars. "Claire," he whispered, "would you want me to go back?" He almost imagined her voice in the wind. "Don't hide your wings, Ethan." 2 weeks later, he stood at the gates of Nellis Air Force Base. The guard recognized his name instantly. "Welcome back, sir." The words made his heart twist. Inside the hangar, the smell of jet fuel and metal hit him like memory itself. Holt greeted him with a grin. "Didn't think you'd actually come." "Didn't think I would either," Ethan said. They walked past rows of sleek F-22 Raptors. Ethan stopped beside one and touched the metal skin. It was cold, but familiar. "You ready to teach again, sir?" Holt asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "I'm ready to listen first." The days that followed were hard but healing. He met young pilots, fearless, reckless, eager. They didn't need a legend, they needed someone who understood loss, hesitation, fear. He told them stories of mistakes, not medals. He taught them that courage wasn't flying without fear, it was flying despite it. At night, he'd call Emma and tell her bedtime stories, not about war, but about clouds that carried hope. "Are you flying again, Daddy?" she'd ask. "Not like before," he'd say, "but maybe that's okay." One morning, Holt approached him with an offer. "Sir, the anniversary of Silver Dusk is coming up. We're planning a tribute flight. We'd be honored if you led it." Ethan froze. "I'm not sure I can." Holt placed a hand on his shoulder. "Sir, it's not about reliving the past. It's about honoring it." Ethan looked at the hangar ceiling, the sunlight cutting through like divine light. "All right, Captain," he said finally. "Let's fly." The day of the flight, Emma stood near the runway in a small flight jacket 2 sizes too big. She waved like her mother once did. Ethan suited up slowly, his hands trembling as he fastened the helmet with Viper 1 etched faintly on the side. When he climbed into the jet, the world went quiet. The radio crackled. Viper 1, cleared for takeoff. His breath caught. For years he'd run from that call. Now it sounded like forgiveness. The engines roared, and the jet lifted into the sky, slicing through clouds that looked like memories made of light. He didn't fly for glory. Not this time. He flew for his daughter, for his lost friend Lansing, for every pilot who'd ever doubted they could rise again. He flew because kindness and courage sometimes meant coming back, not to fight, but to guide. The flight was short, a ceremonial loop, but in those few minutes, he felt whole again. As he descended, he whispered into the radio, "For you, Claire." On the runway, Emma ran toward him, waving wildly. "Daddy, you flew." He lifted her up and laughed, tears in his eyes. "Yeah, sweetheart, I flew. She touched his flight patch. "Mommy would be proud." He nodded, voice breaking. "I think so too." That evening, as the sun set over the desert, Ethan stood alone beside the silent jets. Holt walked up beside him. "You thinking of coming back full-time?" Ethan smiled. "No, Captain, just part-time here with a full heart." Holt grinned. "Viper 1, sir, the sky missed you." Ethan looked up at the fading light. "Maybe, but I think I just missed myself." The air was calm, golden, forgiving. For the first time in years, he wasn't haunted by the ghosts of the sky. They had become guides. When he returned to Emma, she handed him a crayon drawing, a jet flying above clouds, a woman waving from heaven, a little girl and her daddy smiling below. "That's us," she said proudly. He looked at it, tears welling, and whispered, "Yeah, that's us." Later that night, before tucking her in, he looked out the hotel window one last time. The stars shimmered like runway lights. He smiled to himself and murmured, "Viper 1, cleared for takeoff." Not into the sky this time, but into life again.